On day 3 of Formula One's secretive 2026 shakedown test in Barcelona, Mercedes completed 183 laps. That number on its own is impressive, but when added to their previous running, it brought their 2-day total to 334 laps. That's 1,555 kilometers, the equivalent of 5 full Spanish Grand Prix distances, completed before the season has even begun. And at the top of the timesheets, a Mercedes, with rookie Kimi Antonelli setting a blistering 1 minute 17.362 second lap, the fastest of anyone all week. The raw data paints a picture of dominance, but we need to break down what this truly means and why the story isn't the headline lap time, but the relentless mileage that has the paddock paying very close attention.
For a team like Mercedes, a titan of the sport that has spent the last 2 seasons in the relative wilderness, 2026 is everything.
The new regulations, with a radical new power unit and chassis concept, represent a complete reset. It's a chance to erase the struggles of the ground effect era and re-establish the dominance they once took for granted. This early test, therefore, isn't just a shakedown. It's the first sign of whether their multi-year gamble on the new rules has paid off. So, the central question is this: is this staggering display of reliability and pace a genuine declaration of war, a sign that the Silver Arrows have nailed the 2026 formula and will leapfrog their rivals? Or is it a classic case of pre-season testing misdirection, a glory run designed to attract sponsors and project confidence while the true competitive picture remains hidden? To answer that, we have to look closely at the engineering choices they've made and the hard data from the track. Let's start with the most important number, 334. Not a lap time, but a lap count. In the world of Formula One testing, and especially with brand new regulations, mileage is king. Before you can be fast, you must be reliable. Every lap is a data point, a chance to understand the complex interplay of a new power unit, a new chassis, and new aerodynamics. Mercedes completing over 1,500 kilometers with, as reported, no major problems, is a monumental achievement. It speaks volumes about the quality of their design, manufacturing, and operational processes back in Brackley and Brixworth. This isn't just about running in circles, it's about stress testing every single component, from the front wing to the gearbox, under representative conditions. It's about understanding how the car behaves on different fuel loads, on different tyre compounds, and as heat track evolves. While other teams, notably Haas and Audi, were confined to their garages with technical gremlins, the Mercedes W17 was relentlessly pounding out the miles. This gives them a colossal head start in the development race. They are not just validating their systems, they are building a database of performance that will be the foundation of their entire 2026 campaign. The car they bring to the first race in Australia will be a direct evolution of the knowledge gained during these 334 laps. Exhales sharply, this is why that number is so much more important than a single fast lap. It signifies operational readiness on a level that so far appears unmatched. Now let's look at the heart of the 2026 regulations, the power unit. The rules have mandated a 50-50 split between internal combustion engine power and electrical power, alongside the removal of the complex and expensive MGU-H. This is a seismic shift in powertrain philosophy. The MGU-H, or motor generator unit heat, was a key piece of technology that recovered energy from the turbocharger. Its removal simplifies the engine, but places an enormous emphasis on the battery and the MGU-K, the kinetic energy recovery system. Getting this new hybrid system to work seamlessly, to deploy and recover energy efficiently without overheating or failing, is the single biggest challenge for every engine manufacturer. Mercedes' ability to run for such long distances suggests their Brixworth engine department has produced a power unit that is not only powerful, but crucially, robust. The drivers have commented favorably on the feeling of these new cars, which are smaller and lighter than the previous generation. That positive initial feedback is a good sign, but it's the reliability that truly matters at this stage. A powerful engine is useless if it can't finish a race. Mercedes has demonstrated that their fundamental architecture is sound. This allows them to move on to the next phase of development, performance tuning and calibration. While their rivals are still stuck on basic reliability fixes, it's a cascading advantage that can pay dividends for the entire season. Looking at the chassis, we see a philosophy of building on known quantities. We understand the W17 has retained a pushrod rear suspension. This is a configuration they know well, and it suggests a preference for mechanical predictability over chasing a radical new aerodynamic concept at the rear. This is significant because it represents a lesson learned. In the past, Mercedes has sometimes stumbled when trying to integrate aggressive aerodynamic concepts that were compromised by unpredictable suspension kinematics. By sticking with a known, stable platform at the rear, they provide a solid foundation for the aerodynamicists to work from. It allows them to develop the underfloor and diffuser, the most critical aerodynamic surfaces on these cars, with confidence, knowing the mechanical platform is consistent. The goal is to maximize the anti-squat characteristics.
Acceleration. This simply means keeping the rear of the car from compressing or squatting as the driver applies power. A stable rear ride height keeps the diffuser working consistently, preventing the aerodynamic stalling or loss of downforce that can make a car unpredictable and difficult to drive. It's a classic example of a mechanical solution to an aerodynamic problem, and it signals a mature, pragmatic approach to the new regulations.
And what about those headline lap times? Kimi Antonelli's 1m17.362s and George Russell's 1m17.580s are on paper deeply impressive. They were the fastest times of the test, and seeing a rookie like Antonelli immediately on the pace is a tantalizing glimpse of his potential. However, this is where we must apply a heavy dose of balanced skepticism. Testing lap times are notoriously deceptive. We don't know the fuel loads, the engine modes, or the specific run plans for any of the teams. A lap set on low fuel with a fresh set of soft tyres and the engine turned up to its qualifying mode will always look spectacular, but it's not representative of race pace. It's what the paddock calls a glory run. It's entirely possible that Mercedes sent Antonelli out on just such a run to grab the headlines and put a positive spin on their test. It's
a standard part of the game. The real pace is found by analyzing the long runs, the race simulations where cars run for 15, 90, 20 laps at a time on heavier fuel loads. That data is kept private by the teams, but the sheer consistency of the W17's running suggests those long runs were productive. The fast laps are the icing on the cake, but the 334 laps of reliability are the cake itself.
What makes Mercedes' performance so compelling is how it contrasts with the early efforts of their key rivals. The most direct comparison from the Barcelona test comes from McLaren. Lando Norris gave the new MCL40 its debut, completing 74 laps. While a solid first outing, it's less than half the single-day lap count of Mercedes. His fastest time, a 1m18.307 seconds, was nearly a full second slower than Antonelli's benchmark. Now, we must apply the same caveats about fuel loads and run plans. McLaren was likely focused on systems checks and correlation, not outright performance. But the data as it stands shows a significant gap in both mileage and headline pace. This doesn't mean McLaren is in trouble, it simply means Mercedes is, at this very early stage, further along in their testing program. They are a day or two ahead in the development race, an advantage that is hard to claw back under a budget cap.
Elsewhere, the picture was even more mixed. Both the Haas and the new Audi factory effort, which has taken over the Sauber team, experienced technical problems that kept them in the garage for extended periods. These kinds of teething issues are normal with a new car, especially one built to such radically different regulations. However, every hour spent fixing a problem is an hour not spent learning on track. This is where Mercedes' incredible reliability becomes a strategic weapon. While Audi and Haas were diagnosing hydraulic leaks or electrical faults, Mercedes were gathering data on tyre degradation and aerodynamic performance. This widens the knowledge gap between the front of the grid and the midfield. For a team like Audi, entering the sport as a full works entry, this is a stark reminder of the operational mountain they have to climb to compete with an established powerhouse like Mercedes. It's one thing to have a budget and a brand. It's another to have the institutional knowledge and seamless execution that defines a top-tier Formula One team. Mercedes' performance is a benchmark, a daunting display of the level required to win in 2026.
Like Mercedes, it's one thing to have a budget and a brand, it's another to have the institutional knowledge and seamless execution that defines a top-tier Formula One team. Mercedes' performance is a benchmark, a daunting display of the level required to win in 2026.
So does this mean the competition is afraid, as the clickbait headlines might suggest? The answer is almost certainly no. Fear is not a productive emotion in Formula One. The correct word is respect. Rivals like Red Bull and Ferrari will have noted Mercedes' mileage with a deep and profound respect for their engineering and operational capability. They will not be panicking, but they will be recalibrating their own expectations. They will be analysing the publicly available data with forensic detail, trying to understand the philosophy of the W17 and where its strengths might lie. The narrative that rivals are scared is a dramatic oversimplification. The reality is more complex. The paddock is a world of data-driven analysis. What Mercedes has done is present a very strong opening data set. They have shown their hand, and it's a strong one. They have demonstrated that their new power unit is reliable,
and that their car is a solid platform.
RM for development. This doesn't guarantee them a championship, but it does make them a serious contender, a team that is hotly tipped by many to return to title contention. The competition isn't afraid, they are on notice. The Silver Arrows are back in the game.
The team itself, however, is working hard to manage these burgeoning expectations.
This is where we must listen to the voices from inside the paddock to get the full picture. George Russell, after setting the second fastest time of the test, was quick to pour cold water on any hype. He dismissed the table-topping times, stating there was little or nothing to be read into them. He emphasized that this test is all about getting mileage on the car and making sure everything functions as it should. This is classic F1 driver speak, a deliberate attempt to downplay success and keep a lid on external pressure, but the subtext is clear. The primary mission, which was to accumulate mileage and ensure functionality, was a resounding success. The fast laps were a bonus, not the objective.
Even more telling are the comments from Mercedes engineering director Andrew Chauvelin. He provided a more nuanced, engineering-focused perspective.
Chauvelin confirmed that the drivers have commented favorably on the feeling these smaller, lighter cars give them compared to the previous generation. This corroborates the initial positive feedback. However, he immediately followed this with a crucial dose of reality. They will only be truly happy once we see the relative performance compared to our competitors, and that is something we won't see until Bahrain at the earliest. This is the voice of an experienced engineer. He knows that testing in isolation is a vacuum. True performance is always relative. It doesn't matter how fast your car is if your rival's car is faster. Chauvelin's cautious tone is a deliberate strategy. It keeps the team grounded and focused on the immense amount of work still to be done. It also serves as a message to their rival.
A sailor, we are not complacent. We know this is just the first step. Our own resident F1 technical expert, a man with decades of experience in the paddock, echoes this sentiment. He notes that Mercedes has thrown down a gauntlet, but it's a gauntlet of reliability, not outright pace. They've shown everyone the minimum entry requirement to be a top team in 2026, a bulletproof power unit. The speed will come later, but without that foundation, you have nothing.
The strategic implications of this successful test are profound and will ripple throughout the 2026 season. The first and most obvious implication is the validation of their development path. Mercedes has essentially confirmed that their core concept for the new regulations is sound. This gives them the confidence to push forward with their planned development program, adding performance to a platform they know is reliable. This is a huge advantage under the sport's restrictive budget cap. Teams that are chasing reliability issues are forced to spend money and resources fixing fundamental problems, diverting funds away from performance-enhancing upgrades. Mercedes, having cleared this hurdle early, can now focus their financial muscle on making the car faster. They can accelerate the development of new front wings, floor designs and brake ducts, while other teams are still trying to make their engines last a race distance.
Furthermore, this early success creates a virtuous cycle. A reliable car allows for more track time. More track time generates more data. More data leads to a better understanding of the car. A better understanding of the car leads to more effective upgrades. This cycle, established in the very first test, can create a performance gap that is incredibly difficult for rivals to close. We are not just watching a new car being tested, we are watching a team build a fortress of knowledge that will be their primary defense throughout the championship battle. The 1,555 kilometers they have already completed are the foundations of that fortress. This is why the development race in modern Formula One is often won in the first few months of the season. A strong start allows a team to dictate the pace of development, forcing rivals to react to their moves rather than following their own strategic plan. This also puts immense pressure on the other top teams, particularly Red Bull and Ferrari. They will have watched Mercedes' performance and understood its significance. They know that they cannot afford to have a single reliability issue in the upcoming Bahrain test. The benchmark has been set. If a Red Bull or Ferrari is stuck in the garage for hours, the headlines will write themselves. Rivals falter as Mercedes flies. This creates a psychological pressure that can lead to mistakes. It might force them to be more conservative with their own run plans, to turn down their engines to guarantee reliability, thereby sacrificing valuable performance data. Mercedes has not only demonstrated their own strength, they have also subtly constrained the freedom of their rivals. They have defined the terms of engagement for the 2026 season before the first race has
even been run. The battle is no longer just about who can design the fastest car, it's about who can build the most robust and efficient racing operation from day one. Exhales sharply. On that front, Mercedes has just fired a very loud, very clear opening shot.
So, to answer our central question,
Is Mercedes' new car a silver bullet that has the competition running scared? The initial data suggests it is a potent weapon, but its true power lies not in its headline pace, but in its relentless metronomic reliability. The competition is not afraid, but they are undoubtedly impressed and have taken notice. Mercedes has not delivered a knockout blow, but they have won the first round on points, decisively. They have shown that their engineering fundamentals are sound, their power unit is robust, and their operational team is executing at the highest possible level. This is a far more terrifying prospect for their rivals than a single fast lap time. It's a statement of comprehensive, deep-seated competence. This technical battle is just beginning, and it will evolve with every race weekend. The story of the W17 is not yet written, but the prologue is
deeply compelling. To get the deepest, most informed analysis on how this story unfolds throughout the 2026 season, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Our goal is to bring 50,000 of us together for the most intelligent F1 conversation on the platform.